What's up guys, TopTierYugioh here, and today I want to have a quick discussion on how much of the game depends on skill and how much of the game depends on luck. And so straight up I'm going to say I believe this game is about 80% skill and about 20% luck. So now I'm going to talk about why I believe this and also why I think this is important, and I do think that this is very important in your progression as a player. Alright, so when looking at how much of the game depends on luck or skill, first I think we need to analyze what happens when we actually play the game, and then look at the individual components, and then talk about what they come down to, either luck or skill. And so we're playing the game, the first thing that happens is you sit down from your opponent, you shuffle each other's decks, shake each other's hand, introduce yourself, say your name, all of that stuff, all the formalities. And then you roll the dice to see who goes first. Now rolling the dice, I think, is 100% luck. Like, you have absolutely no control over what you're gonna get. Whether you roll a 5 or if you roll a 1. Like, there's nothing you can do about that. I mean, unless you have like a weighted dice or something, but don't do that, that's cheating. Cheating is wrong, don't do that. So after deciding who goes first or second, you both draw your 5 cards. And it's very debatable onto which this is either luck-based or skill-based, but I would argue that it's mostly skill-based and it comes down to deck building. So most of the time when you build your deck, you can sit down and calculate the probabilities of drawing certain cards and combinations of cards. So you know that you're going to draw a certain hand like this many games out of 100. So when you're playing Burning Abyss and you're playing 15 Burning Abyss monsters, you're playing 3 Terratops, 1 Tour Guide, you know that you are going to draw in the first turn Beatrice a large percent of the time. That's just going to happen. That's not really lucky. Even if you draw into one of the Terratops or one of the Tour Guides, it's not really lucky. You're bound to draw that every now and then. So I definitely wouldn't say that that's really mostly luck-based. It comes down to your deck building. In the adverse is also true. You could be playing Burning Abyss and not open any Burning Abyss monsters. That's gonna happen sometimes, but it shouldn't happen often. But even if it does happen, that's not really bad luck. That's just what's bound to happen statistically. Like, because you don't play 40 Burning Abyss monsters, there are gonna be some games where you don't draw any Burning Abyss monsters. And that's okay. That's not really bad luck though, at least in my opinion. So then, after you draw your cards, what actual plays you make is skill-based. What you do with those 5 cards, your technical play is 100% skill-based in my opinion. You have absolute control over what you do. You also have control over how you make those plays, how you do that. And so there's a very big difference in doing your combos confidently, looking like you know what you do, not really needing to think too much, and really giving your opponent that feeling that you're in control. That makes it's very different than doing your combos with caution, thinking about things, being unsure of your plays. It's such a big difference. And a lot of times it helps your opponent read into what you're doing and what you can do afterwards. So like, there's a big difference in like setting 2 back row and then being confident, or setting 2 back row and like not being sure, like looking at it over and over, like, I don't know if I should set this, maybe put it back in your hand and say, I'm not gonna set this, then decide to set it. But there's a big difference in doing that and just set 2 pass. Huge difference. So how you make your plays is also important. And then this is going to continue over the course of the game over and over and over again. You're going to draw cards, they're going to draw cards, you both make plays, and then how you make those plays. And so just to look back at that one more time, who goes first or second is based on luck. What you actually draw is debatable whether it's luck or skill, but I would say skill, deck building. And then your technical play and how you play them is skill-based. So then where does the 20% luck come in then? Because remember at the beginning I said that this is 80% skill and 20% luck. Well, I think that luck comes into play when the statistically improbable continues to happen. So when that becomes consistent, that's when I think it's fair to say that something is luck. So if you're playing Blue Eyes and you open 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons, the normal one, you open Pot of Desires, you activate Pot of Desires, you banish all 3 of your alternatives, and you draw into another Pot of Desires in Melody. Like, that sucks, but that's gonna happen some amount of games. Like, it's going to happen eventually. But that's not really bad luck. And so let's just say you lose that game, so then you decide to go first game 2, and you open 3 Blue Eyes, Melody, and Pot of Desires. So you activate Pot of Desires, and then you banish all your alternatives, and then draw to another Pot of Desires again. Now that's bad luck, because that shouldn't happen twice. Like, it's gonna happen some amount of times, but it shouldn't happen twice. So that's really bad luck. I'm sorry if that's ever happened to any of you guys. Or maybe if you're consistently banishing 3 of the same card that you need in your deck. So if you're playing ABCs and you banish 3 of your A Assault Cores, like, it's gonna happen, but it shouldn't happen often, and if it does, that's bad luck, man. But on the flip side, you can also have really good luck, obviously. So like, if you open Galaxy Soldier, Melody, Sage, Vanity's Emptiness. Like, that's a good hand. But, you know, it's gonna happen. That's not really good luck. But if you open that all day long, you are one lucky son of a... So to recap, I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Is mostly skill-based, but I think luck comes into play when statistically improbable becomes consistent. But why is this important? Why should you care? So you've been watching this video all this time, and I think it's important to understand why this is important. And so I believe that how much of the game you believe is luck or skill is important because it's a direct measure of how much you can control within a game. So when you say that a game is mostly luck-based, that means that you as the player have very little control over it. So if you think this game is like 100% luck, that means you just have zero control over any of your games. So if you're just playing the play, you can't do anything about it. Whether you win or lose, it's just up to the Yu-Gi-Oh gods, you know. Pharaoh Yugi's up in wherever you believe is up there, and he's making you win or lose games. Heart of the cards, right? That's luck. But when you believe that this game is skill-based, that's when you start believing that you can make a difference in your games. That's when you start believing that when you practice, it pays off. That's when it starts making a difference when you play test your deck, when you sit down and you calculate the statistics and probability of drawing certain cards and combinations of them. And that makes a difference. That's when you think it makes a difference where you side differently or have more confidence when you play or set down different routines. I think the more control that you allow yourself to have in a game, the more you can control that you win. Like, you win a lot more when you believe you can win and it's under your control versus you just think it's up to chance. And I think it's very hard to be a good player at this game if you do think that it's mostly chance. And something I was telling my friend the other day, he was saying this game is mostly luck. But what I was telling him was if this game was luck-based, you wouldn't see the same names topping these events over and over again. Like, these guys are winning these events over and over because they're good players. They're very skillful. If it was luck-based, then you wouldn't have very many reoccurring champions. Like, you wouldn't have guys like Patrick Coban and Jeff Jones winning so many events. That wouldn't be happening if this game was luck-based, because it's not luck-based. This game is mostly based on skill, and because of that, we as players, we have the ability to control the outcome of games. And it comes down to our health, our preparation, our practice, and our knowledge. Those are the 4 areas where I think we can improve our games. So to wrap things up one more time, I believe that this game is about 80% skill, only about 20% luck. This is important because the more we believe this game is skill-based and less luck-based, the more control that we give ourselves over each individual game and how we do at events overall. When you give yourself the control over the outcome and take responsibility for what may happen within a game, that's when you're able to really elevate yourself as a player. And so I would challenge all of you that within your games, when it's over, look back at that game and think, like, can you make a better play? Like, was it possible for you to do anything different? Maybe you could have influenced what your opponent did differently. Maybe you can change some of your deck building choices. Maybe that's the reason why you drew what you drew or didn't draw what you draw. So I would challenge all of you to look back at your games and ask yourself, what can you do differently? What could you have done differently? Maybe you needed more sleep, you know, anything. There's so many different factors, and I believe that we as players have a lot of control over that. So let me know what you think in the comment section, whether or not you believe this game is more luck-based or skill-based. I'm very interested to know. Like I said, this is something I was talking to some friends about the other day, and we were in like a heated argument about this. So I want to know your guys' opinion as well. So thanks for watching, guys. I usually don't do these like in real life recordings like this, but I figured it'd be a lot of fun to maybe try this time. And we'll see how it goes, and if it works out well, I might continue doing it. So let me know what you think about that. Let me know how the sound quality is. I'm a little worried about how this is gonna actually sound, but we'll see. And once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.
I find myself thinking about our sweet escape. I love to daydream about those memories made when the ocean